Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul. I'm Melissa Wilson in the Fox 26 newsroom. It's a working newsroom behind me. You never know what's going to happen. Hopefully, everything will be nice and calm for us because I have an incredible guest to welcome you to. I can't wait for you to meet her. I feel like it's someone we can all learn from, and we are all going to experience heartache in our lives. She certainly had her share, but I feel like it's how we deal with that and then how we go on to help others that makes all the difference. She's turning her pain into purpose, and she's making a huge event come to life in Sugarland next weekend that I want you to all know about, all in honor of her beloved mom and daughter. Without further ado, let's bring in Monique Bossett. Monique, welcome to Lunch for the Soul.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. And we are talking about lupus, an autoimmune condition that has unfortunately caused so much pain for your family. Tell us when all of this began for you and your family.
Wow. Well, actually, it started probably, Melissa, in 2002 when my mom was diagnosed with it. She obviously had probably it probably been laying dormant for some years before she was properly diagnosed. And I lost her in 2004 after some complications. And then, unfortunately, few years later, my daughter was diagnosed with it as well. And eventually it took her in December of 2016. So
It
the
is
journey's been
so
long.
much loss. And it didn't affect you. We were the first time I talked to you, we were talking about how it skipped a generation, but does tend to sometimes be in the genetics.
It did skip me, and I think, like I said to you before, I consider it a curse and a blessing because it took my favorite people in the whole world from me. But for however it played out, I do not have the gene for it. So I was tested early on, and I don't have it. But yes, it absolutely has a tendency to have a genetic predisposition.
Anytime we do a story like this, I think it's so important that we raise awareness of what lupus is in the first place. Can you describe how it affects your family members? Because it affects everybody differently. It's so tricky. And then it affects so many different body parts a lot of the time.
It really does, and it's such an individual. I used to say to my daughter all the time, it's kind of like it camouflages itself quite a bit, and it presents differently in different people. My mom, in one hand, obviously at the end, it did take her, but she wasn't nearly as it did not ravish her body nearly as it did with my daughter. However, it did attack her lungs, which is was pretty much why I lost her. With my daughter, on the other hand, it just came in like a beast. It started with joint, it's basically when your immune system attacks itself. A lot of times, it presents as rheumatoid arthritis. In her case, they thought it was carpal tunnel. She was a legal secretary, so her hands and joints would bother her. Then she got the butterfly rash, and so that's when it really became evident that we needed to address the lupus diagnosis. But it attacked her skin. She had something called transverse myelitis, which was where it attacked her neurological system, and she was paralyzed. Her kidneys were compromised. Just it went from we'd get one hole plugged, and then something else would happen. So it's a very, very unfortunate disease.
Oh, that's a really important way to put it. And I thought it was really important for us to just pull up pictures here. What
Uh,
a beauty. I know that just probably stops your heart to see them and two people who you adored right here so very much.
adored them. It literally is it's tough.
Yeah, yeah.
It's tough to see such amazing women and lives that had so much to give, and they're gone. But you know what? At the end of the day, God doesn't make mistakes. He kept us all throughout the journey, and obviously has kept me through those losses. So it's hard for me to question it, but it doesn't take away the sting. That's for sure.
Mhm. Well, you are so strong to be able to talk about it because I know it's been a number of years now that I would imagine it never gets easier. And now I love what you're doing. You are a mama on a mission, I'm going to call you,
I am a mama on a mission.
to
I
not just sit there and be in pain and to think about them, but to do something about it and pave the way. Because we know that you say it best, it doesn't just affect the person who has it, it's everybody who knows and loves them, everybody in their circle, whether it's their family, friends, or their colleagues. It's
absolutely,
so far
absolutely.
reaching.
Yep, it really is. And awareness, not to minimize any other disease, or heartache, because obviously every disease is a heart disease for any patient and their loved ones. But obviously, some get more visibility than others. And lupus is not the kind of disease that you can always see visually. So when a patient is in what we call a flare up, it doesn't always look like they're sick. It might present as fatigue or just joint issues, but those things can be extremely debilitated. So when you have someone in your life or that you work with or in your family that may have been diagnosed and they can't participate in things or be at certain events because their body literally hurts. My daughter used to say, "Mom, my eyelids hurt." And I can't even fathom that kind of discomfort, and it's chronic. It's not like it goes away. And I mean, it's extremely debilitating. So part of my mission is to just get the awareness out there about the disease. I've lost you.
Sorry about that. I was getting loud in here. This Saturday is Fly. Tell us what that stands for,
Fly
first of
is so exciting. It's so exciting. And I have such a tribe of friends and families that are backing me and supporting me and have really been lifting this event up. But it is going to be in the Fort Bend area. My sweet and dear friends, Mark and Laura Millis, have an office and an airplane hangar at the Sugar Land Regional Airport over on Highway 6. And they have graciously donated their space. And we're going to be there this Saturday, the 24th at 7 p.m. And we are going to have a live auction, a silent auction. We're doing something I'm calling it Style Replay. So it's a boutique. It's kind of a twist on doing upcycled and recycled resale shopping, but some fun stuff for that. We're going to have music and just hopefully a lot of fun, but sharing really some good information about resources and just how to help these lupus warriors and their families.
And I love how you did the play on the names right there with Fly, not only at the hangar, but what it actually ends up spelling out, right?
Yeah, that's fashion, lupus, and you. So that was kind of my take on it. And we are really getting a great response to it and hoping that this will become an annual event down, in the years to come. So taking baby steps on this one, but still planning for a fun night. So looking forward to it.
And
Absolutely.
it's such a beautiful flyer here. And I mean,
Thank you.
fashion, you don't think about fashion when you think of lupus, but in your daughter's name, once you hear what it's all about, it makes beautiful sense. How meaningful is this to you, and how important is it for you that our community back you up and show up and be a part of this?
Listen, I don't even have words for that. And I woke up this morning and I, said my prayers and I was asking God to really and truly give me the right words to share with you today. And it really comes down to I want this community to see him in this event and what he's able to do and the just amazing blessings and just what the opportunities that he can reveal for us just on a daily basis to help others. So yes, we're doing this event. Yes, I want it, to be fun, but really and truly, God just really has carried me through this whole ordeal. He carried my mom and my daughter before that. And so I just want people to see him present even before he sees me. And that I say that most sincerely from my heart.
Well, and it is so important for us to get on board because 2 million other people in our country suffer then from this. When I think about how many people that affects, you can only fathom in Houston, one of the biggest cities in the nation, how many people are affected right here in our own backyard.
It's true. And I don't know the exact stats, but I know that the population, a large population of that 2 million number, is made up of women and women of color. So, yes, you're absolutely right. The numbers are staggering. The diagnoses are coming every single day, and it's alarming. And it does warrant a pause for, some focus to be shed on this disease.
And it's hard to get diagnosed sometimes too, isn't it? Where people will go for months, even years sometimes to get that diagnosis because it can look like so many different things. Did your family have to deal with that and have a hard time getting the diagnosis?
You are spot on with that. Absolutely. My mom, most especially, because when she was showing some, symptomatic diseases, it was easy for the medical community to say, "Oh, it's stress," which obviously we know stress will compound any disease, but that wasn't the cause of it. Also, she had the joint issues, and we went into the arthritis, RA diagnosis, and so in years that have followed, it's on the these rheumatologists are looking for that a little more readily than they were then. My daughter, unfortunately, her diagnosis came a little quicker because I think, first of all, we had a family history of it for them to look at, but also the testing was a lot more aggressive by the time my daughter was showing symptoms.
Well, obviously, we all need to do our part to help out here. How can we get a hold of those tickets and come and support you?
Well, you can certainly go onto the Lupus Texas website, and they will have a link that you just look for events and go to the Fashion for Lupus, the Fly event, and you're able to purchase tickets that way. We have plenty of seats available. We also have sponsorship opportunities. And if you can't join us, we would happily take donations. There's no amount too small. All of it makes a difference. Anything makes a difference, but also use it as a resource. If you can't make the event, reach out to the Lupus Foundation and they have amazing. Anne Marie Blacketer is the CEO, and she is a firecracker. And I'm so thankful that she's there and doing so much to really put this information out there. And she's in the hospital rooms, she's at the doctor's offices. She's not just sitting behind a desk, sending emails. She's a real worker bee. She's in the trenches on this.
She is one of the most amazing people I've ever met. I stand in awe of that woman. So I agree. Every time I interview her or see her, I just can't believe all she does. And
Yeah,
they're
her
so
team.
supportive of families too, and making sure you don't feel alone and making sure you have all those resources.
Absolutely. She has a really hands-on team, and they work well together. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with them this year.
Yeah, it's just most impressive. And I'm so happy you're doing this. I think it's going to be really meaningful for them to have you backing them. And then what do they tell you that those dollars go to? Does it go toward research and trying to find better treatment plans?
Well, the best news about it, and it is important that when you are going onto the website, you select the Texas chapter, because those resources stay in the city,
Mhm.
and she can allocate them to different things. To be honest, during with my daughter, they were able to even help us with medicine. We had a period that her insurance, she had gone through the whole Cobra thing and long-term disability and trying to get approved for Medicare. It was, on compounded with the illness. You have the business side of things that you have to navigate through, and they were extremely instrumental with putting us with doctors that were doing some cutting edge therapies. They could have put us in touch with some agencies that could help me navigate through the process of getting her equipment, and just they have a wealth of information, and they're very um, involved with all of the medical communities. They're not just in the medical center. They're not just in Sugar Land. They have legs all throughout the city, the medical community. So
Well, this is Lunch for the Soul, so I do want to get to I guess, one of the most important messages, and that is how your faith has gotten through the biggest loss. A parent, let's face it, is often lost. We often lose our parents because that's just, I feel like, the way our maker meant it to be. But it's difficult. It is so hard to lose a parent. I've lost my dad, so I know what it was like for you to lose your mom. But
right.
to lose a child, in our prayers and our dreams and everything we picture in life, we never have that loss, but you have. How has your faith kept you strong to deal with this day in and day out?
It is an everyday, it's just a part of my breath every single day. You know, God prepared me for that, for my daughter's loss. I have to thank my grandparents, my great grandparents, who just growing up, it was just a part of our household. We talked about God. We prayed together. We went to church together. And so a very fortunate I'm very fortunate in that I think God knew all along, well, we know he knows all along that this was going to be my journey. So thankfully, he equipped me from a little girl to prepare for it. And, you know, I lost my grandparents. I lost my dad. My dad was only 53 when I lost him to an aneurysm. My mom was 65 when I lost her. And then I lost my daughter. So I know with everything in me that God equipped me for the biggest loss I could ever have by those other losses. So again, I just go to him with everything, and I thank him just for the arms that he leaves for me to lean in on, and his strength. And I, you know, I'm not going to say it's always a joyous day, but what I have comfort in, Melissa, is knowing that I really have someone that I can go to in the mornings and night in my car, because you never know when the grief will hit, you know. So it's I I just I don't know what I would do without
I have, Monique, unfortunately, interviewed some people who've lost a child, and it made them lose their faith because they said, how could there be a God if this happens to me? And I feel like your voice is so important here because something you told me the first time I met you brought me to tears. And you said it was something like, and I'd let you say it out of your own words, but that she was God's before she was yours. And
That's
that keeps you going through it as well, that you feel like he had a mission for her that wasn't here on earth. It was maybe something even bigger than her life here on earth.
absolutely. And you know, a bigger blessing is that she had a relationship with God. She had her own relationship with God. I'd come in her room in the mornings, and she's, you know, in her Bible, and she's studying the word, and she's doing Bible study, and she's listening to, you know, Christian shows on television. And I just admired her. I can't even imagine being a 35-year-old looking around at all of her family, her friends getting married and having kids, and, you know, thriving in their careers. And yet she was pretty much in a dungeon, in a, you know, lockdown with her health. So he was already, just giving her some peace in what he had for her as well. So my heart rests really well knowing that she's with him now. So it's a joyous thing for me to know and trust in. So
It's so beautifully stated, and I'm so happy that you feel comfortable sharing that with other people because I
absolutely.
do feel like that for anybody who's suffering from loss right now, that you can really make a difference. Thank you for that, Monique. Thank you for being
Thank you.
open and honest and vulnerable and sharing your pain to help others. And I hope that this is the most smashing, unbelievable event and that it just goes off so beautifully planned. And I know it will.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm believing in that, and I think it's going to be a very successful night on all fronts. So I'm happy to thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. I
Well,
appreciate
you have a lot of good people backing you, and I know that that also makes a really big difference. So congratulations in that.
I'm telling you, I have a big support system, and I couldn't be more thankful for them.
All right. Well, you take good care of you and stay in touch.
Thank you, Melissa.
All
Have a
right.
great day. Appreciate
Okay.
you.
You do the same. And just want to remind you all, you can always catch us here You can go to our YouTube page. You can go to fox26houston.com and you can watch past Lunch for the Souls. If you caught us a little bit late today, you can go there and see all of them. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I thank you for being here. Be blessed.